What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul. This is the Leeds Therapy. I do hope you are doing well. Thank you, ever for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Really need to learn to clear my throat before I start doing these videos. If you haven't done so already, you just make sure that you are subscribed, that you have your notifications turned on, that you are commenting, liking, hyping the video, all of that good stuff. That would be massively appreciated, so thank you for that. Also, in this corner you can see the Spotify and also the Apple Podcast logo. If you are listening to the audio version of this, just make sure that you are liking the audio and you're following it for me as well. Again, that would be greatly appreciated. So today's video, it would appear that we are entering what I like to term as the silly season has started, and because there's not a lot of loads of information floating around, everybody is getting massively stressed out with just the lack of information, all of that good stuff. And I just wanted to set the record, not set the record straight, but just to give you a bit of a what to look out for, what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to, the usual kind of stuff. So the first thing that we are going to bump onto today, because I think it's important, is Noah Okafor. Now, yesterday, a lot of people started posting on the fact that Okafor had turned his Instagram logo to black, and that he had taken Leeds out of his profile or out of his bio. And it does always amaze me how quickly people can grab a story, run with it, when they're not 100% covered on what it should actually be. So a lot of people were panicking, thinking something's gone wrong. And I hate mentioning by name, but there are some trolls that are online that turned around and said that Leeds had accepted a £25 million bid from somebody for Noah Okafor, and that we were getting ready to sell him, and that's why all of this had gone black. But the people believed it straight away. And I guess just to clear things up a little bit, Okafor's never had Leeds in his bio. He's always had sports person, just as an FYI. And if you look at his first two pinned things on his Instagram, they are Leeds United related posts. In fact, if you look in that top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 posts that are on there, they're all Leeds United related. If you watch his YouTube, you would understand that the black thing that he's done is more in a bit of defiance against the Swiss national team coach, because of him not being picked, and because of him not, it's kind of like going to the World Cup and not doing anything. So don't panic about that. There is nothing that you need to worry about, nothing that you need to panic over or stress about. Somebody decided to make a rumor about it, and then everybody ran with it. It was hilariously funny how it all worked out, and the way that it kind of moved its way forward. I did find it quite funny, but I wanted to just kind of speak on it a little bit and just try and see if I could calm your nerves slightly on it. Now, the next thing that we are going to look at is Mandela Keita. And it came about yesterday or in the morning, that we were potentially looking at negotiating a £30 million deal or a €30 million deal for the Belgian Parma midfielder. He's an absolute monster of a midfielder, by the way. He's unbelievably good. And Andrea Russo, good friend of mine and good friend of Ger Lynch from the Leeds View as well, had mentioned him, funnily enough. And it is funny that he mentioned him, then all of a sudden in Gazzetta dello Sport or Tutto dello Sport, whichever one it is, had picked it up and run with it and said that we were negotiating with him. And then the funny thing is that the Yorkshire Post put out, or the YP Sport put out, Leeds United are in negotiations over a deal for Everton-linked Parma midfielder Mandela Keita. Now, the thing that makes this absolutely hilarious is that on X, Jer and Andrea were having a conversation about it, and out of nowhere, Mr. Fun Sponge himself, Graham Smith, comes out with a tweet telling everybody that there is nothing in it whatsoever at all. So the funny thing about this is that you've got the YP Sport saying that we are negotiating, and then you've got Graham Smith from the Yorkshire Evening Post, chief football writer, saying there's nothing in it. So it's like, come on, boys, you're a table away from each other. Get your conversations right. And it's just, it points to that ridiculousness that we get in this point in time when we're looking at transfers, when we're looking at stuff that's going on. Sometimes it's really, really hard to sort the wheat from the chaff and try and make it outright. And it just turns into silly season. It turns into people making spurious comments and then for whatever reason, people picking it up and running with it. And then you've got people from effectively the same newspaper, one saying that we're negotiating and the other one, the chief football writer, is coming out and saying there's nothing in it, which makes it really, really difficult sometimes to disseminate the information. It also makes it highly amusing at the same time as well. But, you know, it is what it is. It's just, it's one of those things. It's where we are. It's what we have to put up with. And it's the types of things that we have to do. Mr. Suzuki is the one that I wanted to talk about. Now, a little post came up from Nicolo Shearer saying that exclusive Parma's goalkeeper Zion Suzuki has turned down Leeds' bid in the last hours. Now, the thing that makes this hilarious is that Shearer had said that we'd put in a bid for him, had said that we'd actively put money forward for him, and that we'd agreed terms with the keeper. So, how have we gone from agreeing terms with the keeper to the keeper suddenly turning us down? It makes no sense. And it makes it, like I said, extremely frustrating and extremely complicated when it comes to trying to put this news out or trying to put this information out about players, because you have to spend so much time going through so much information and literally setting fire to the majority of stuff because it's not accurate. And one thing that I am going to say is, as far as Shearer is concerned, I would take anything that he says with a pinch of salt. He's gone from saying that we want to sign him to saying that we've got an agreement in place with the keeper to now saying that the keeper has turned us down. And it's just like, just make your mind up of how you want this to be and how you want it to go, mate. Because at the moment, this is very frustrating and very, very annoying. So, yeah, it's incredibly frustrating the way that these things tend to run and the way that these things tend to go. It generally turns into an absolute bun fight for information. And sometimes what it turns into is a case of trying to be first, not necessarily trying to be right, but trying to be first with the information all the time. And look, I'm not an expert on transfers, far from it. What I do try to do is I try to look at all of the information and try and pull it together and then try and do the checks that you need to do and try and do the balances that you need to do before you bring the information. And the problem is, particularly at this moment in time, because the World Cup's on, because it's a bit quiet on the front, unless you're Spurs, because Spurs are just buying everybody, it's almost like people need to not make things up, but just say stuff for the sake of saying stuff, for the sake of being able to get clicks or for the sake of being able to get stuff right. And it's incredibly frustrating from the point of view of being somebody like me that just tries to get information out there, or anybody else that in the space that tries to do this. Just always do your checks. That's what I would always say. And one of the things that I would always try and say with the stuff that I try and do is that I try to be as accurate as is humanly possible with the stuff that I do. And it's things like this that make it incredibly difficult to do this. funny at times. The thing with Keita is quite hilarious in the Yorkshire Post and the Yorkshire Evening Post, basically batting against each other. So that's hilariously funny, but it kind of is what it is. That's going to do it for this one. A little bit of a short video for you today. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please don't forget to click the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that your notifications are turned on. Make sure that you're commenting down below. Let me know what you think. If you're listening to the audio version of this, just make sure that you are liking the audio. Again, that would be greatly appreciated. Right. I'm going to go and put my head into a cold bucket of water and try and relieve some of the tension headache that I have. Take care of each other. Most importantly, take care of yourself. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you soon. Cheers.